So your spiritual awakening got you feeling like you losing your mind. I wasn't expecting that video to do numbers like that, but I see that there's a lot of people that are going through this right now. And the most common comment that I saw was about the loneliness, how lonely and how dark it feels. So let me say you're not crazy. We finna talk about it. Hold on, let me get situated with my coffee, and then we're gonna talk about it. You're not going crazy. So yesterday I made a video about, how people be lying about their spiritual journey or their spiritual awakening, saying that, they're having so much fun and they're becoming so enlightened, and, the spiritual awakening is such a breeze. Like, I made the video saying that that's a lie, and that anybody that's ever had a spiritual awakening, that shit is ghetto as fuck, because like your whole world gets turned upside down. I talked about how you stop liking people, how you feel uncomfortable in spaces where you once felt comfortable, how your eating habits will change, how your sleeping will change. I talked about all of those things, and like I said, I wasn't expecting that video to do numbers, but I opened TikTok and there are over 1,500 likes and comments from people of all walks of life saying the same thing. People in different age groups saying the same thing, that their spiritual awakening is turning them every which way but loose. That the synchronicities, the angel numbers, the, looking at certain friends and family members crazy, because now you can see like the difference between, their energy and yours. You can see people's true intentions. It's like, it is enough to drive you crazy. There were so many comments about people talking about how lonely and isolated they feel, how they can't talk to anybody about these things, and how they feel like, they may be going schizophrenic or bipolar because their whole world is changing. So I want to talk about that, like in a very real way, not a making content type of way. Like, I really want to talk about that, because that process, that spiritual awakening process, it can make or break you. Like, on some very real shit, some people don't make it through. Some people have such a hard time with their reality bending and shifting to something different that, they end up having mental breakdowns, or they end up, not being okay, especially if they come across someone giving them the wrong information, or, if they get into like substances to try to ease the symptoms of going through the awakening. Like, it can really be a life or death situation. Like, on some real shit, it really ain't nothing to like play with for real. So I want to talk about it in a very real way. This video may get long, so go ahead and like, and save it. So if you have to come back to it later, you can go ahead and like, follow me and save it, because I may have to break this up into like a series or something, how to survive your spiritual awakening or something. But I want to talk about it for real. So again, let me say, you are not going crazy. Yes, life is shifting. Life is changing. Nothing feels real anymore. Certain foods don't feel good to you to eat anymore. Certain people, even family members, even sometimes the partners that you are with, don't feel like they resonate with you anymore. And you start to feel like nobody understands you. Or the things that you are experiencing, you feel crazy about them. And even trying to explain it to people that it's not happening to is making you feel crazier than you already do. And it's like a switch that gets flipped. What's happening is you're becoming aware of the undercurrents of life, the things that lie beneath the surface. You're being able to like tap into a different frequency, and that becomes isolating because not everybody is tapping into that frequency at the same time. There's always periods of like mass awakenings, meaning like as a collective, that there are several of us in different places. Most of us don't even know each other. We're all being like brought online, so to speak, at the same time. It's like somebody pushed a button and like certain number of people get activated, and it's like everybody around you won't get activated with you. Sometimes you get activated based on, the growth that you've been trying to achieve for yourself. Sometimes trauma activates you. Sometimes, spiritual gifts will activate you, and you'll go through this awakening at a time period where other people around you are not going through it. So when you start to have these feelings, when you start to like notice certain things, shifts in energy, shifts in, body language of people that, you were once comfortable with, you don't know how to like deal with the fact that ain't nobody else seeing what I'm seeing. Like, don't nobody else notice what I'm noticing. And it starts to make you feel ostracized. It starts to make you feel like you don't belong in the families or groups or communities that you once were proud to be in. And then that starts to make you question, like, is it me? Like, is it something wrong with me? Because everybody else just fine. Like they still going along, you know, like life is just normal, but I'm feeling different things. I'm seeing different things. My dreams are different. When I walk outside, the world looks different. Some shit looks fake. It looks like, you know, a simulation. Like you're having all of these situations happen at one time, and it can be overwhelming. It can feel like an overload of energy. And if you don't have anyone to talk to, if you don't have an understanding of what this is, you won't know what to do. And a lot of people, like, you know, they just go into hermit mode, which hermit mode is not a bad thing, you know, especially when you're going through your spiritual awakening. You don't need a lot of the distractions. You don't need to be overstimulated. But some people like go into hermit mode and they never come back out because they get scared of what's happening, to where they shut themselves down, to where the awakening doesn't continue to flow. That awakening doesn't flow, it gets stagnated because of that fear. So let me say this: if you have already begun your spiritual awakening, there is no turning back. And that's not a bad thing. However, you can get stagnated. You can get stuck. It's almost like you're being reborn, you know, and you're in the birth canal, you know, and if you stay where you are, you're going to spiritually, you know, die. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to like spiritually cut yourself off from this rebirth, this birthing process. That's how you will see people that have like mental breakdowns. Sometimes that is the cause. You know, Western medicine will label these people as schizophrenic or bipolar, or just say, you know, they had a mental breakdown. But a lot of times it's this process that causes people to have those situations where you have begun a spiritual awakening, especially for those people that be out there trying to force their third eye open before it's ready to be open. You watching YouTube videos, taking all these little tinctures and substances that people tell you will open your third eye, and you're trying to force it open before it's ready to be open. That can put you in a space of like damn near like spiritual psychosis, and that will have you stuck in that space because now you're afraid, because it was too much at one time. There is a path and a rhythm for everyone that is supposed to have a spiritual awakening. And if you force that path and that rhythm, you're giving yourself more trouble than you even understand. And if you are in the middle of your spiritual awakening and it happened naturally and you're too afraid to like continue to go forward, you can get stuck there as well. So there's a lot that can take place. This is not a matter to be taken lightly at all. I know it's, you know, posted all over the internet like, oh, spiritual awakening, like it's just, you know, the best thing since sliced bread. Like, this is a very real process that can alter your psyche, alter your life, alter the way you see yourself. This shit can have you disassociated from reality. Like, there's a lot at stake when we're talking about a real, true spiritual awakening. So we need to be for real about it. So what I'm saying is that this is a process that should not be taken lightly. And if you are going through it, I want you to give yourself some grace. I'm going to keep on saying you're not crazy. You're not losing your mind. Your world is shifting. Your frequency is elevating. And with that elevation, there comes this dissolving of what was, so that you can step into what is, so that you can see the reality of the frequency that you embody. Because not everybody's frequency is the same. Some people have access to, you know, different, I guess you could say, timeline signatures or wavelengths or frequencies that shows them something different than what it shows others. So some people's spiritual awakening is going to be, you know, more intense than others. Let me say that. So give yourself some grace. You know, especially if you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, especially if you feel like one day you had, you know, this life that was lit. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was good. You had family you loved, friends you trusted, a partner that, you know, made you feel safe and comfortable. And then you woke up one day and all of that shit just feel like this ain't for me. Give yourself some grace. This can be depressing. It can. And there are things that you can do to like assist yourself within this process to where it's not as hard, you know, as we make it to be, because sometimes we make it harder on ourselves. That's a fact. If you are resisting this spiritual awakening, trying to like ignore things and act like nothing's going wrong, you're conflicting with what your psyche is interacting with. So you're causing like a disruption within yourself internally. That can lead to more problems. But there are things that you can do to help yourself along this process. And I'm going to go into a few of those things. I don't want to make this video too long, but if y'all do want me to do like a series on this or a part 2 to this, please put in the comments and say part 2 or series or whatever, so that I can keep on going and, keep talking about this to actually help those who are going through it that want the assistance. And if you watched this video thus far, thank you. I appreciate you, because I do want to actually help people who are going through this, because a lot of them comments kind of made me feel tender in my heart, like hearing people or seeing people say, they're so isolated, family don't understand, they feel so alone, they feel like they losing their mind, they crying all the time, like they don't want to be a part of life anymore. Like, man, that's some serious shit. So I want to actually give as much information as I can to help those of y'all that are truly going through it and are truly looking for answers. So if you want a part 2, comment, like this video, share it, save it, comment, and we'll keep this thing rolling. But before I end this one, let me say that practices that you can incorporate that really do make a difference. I know these practices have been thrown out all over the place, and you hear it and it just sounds like, some buzzwords. But grounding, putting your bare feet in grass, in the soil. So grounding, putting your bare feet in the grass, in the soil, being outside in the sun. This does help. Breath work, that means intentional breathing, where you may breathe in for 5 counts, hold for 5 counts, and then release for 5 counts. That slows your breathing down, which calms your nervous system, which brings you back to the present moment. So you're not overthinking, so you're not overstimulating. Breath work is so powerful. One of the words for breath is translated into spirit. So when you are controlling your breath, you are taking control of your spirit, and that puts you in the present moment. So breath work, look into that, look that up. Like I said, a simple way you can do breath work is to breathe in for 5 counts, hold for 5 counts, and breathe out for 5 counts. Don't focus on anything else but feeling that breath move through your body. Yoga is not just some trendy shit for rich, suburban women to do, or rich bored housewives. No, yoga is a whole spiritual practice in and within itself. It helps you to move energy through your body. So yoga, get on YouTube, find some simple yoga stretches you can do. It helps. Meditation is going to be one of the biggest things to help you through this spiritual awakening. It's not just some foo-foo shit that people just be talking about. These practices are there for a reason. They're there to assist you through this spiritual awakening. And spiritual guidance, you should be getting readings from a very trusted or knowledgeable tarot reader or oracle, someone that can actually show you where you're at in this process of awakening and what you should be paying attention to, and give you practical, useful steps that can help you through this process. That's one of the reasons for divination in the form of tarot or oracle readings, or even a birth chart reading. I always talk about birth chart readings. Your birth chart can help you through your spiritual awakening because it can show you what you are here to do in this life. I say that over and over again. I know I may sound like a broken record when I say it, but I'm telling y'all some very useful tools. I'm giving y'all $1 million worth of game when it comes to surviving these spiritual awakenings and these spiritual journeys. So those practices can help you. And I'm gonna stop right there for now. So if y'all want a part 2, or y'all want me to make a series, put it in the comments, share this video, follow me, and we'll keep on talking about this thing, because it's way too many of y'all suffering with these spiritual awakenings right now, and I want to help.